Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Prime Sports World. And on today's episode, we're going to be breaking down the new rule that just passed by the NFL owners at the annual NFL owners meeting earlier today. We're going to look at some of the trades that have already happened and talk about who could be the next superstar on the move. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, or YouTube, or Twitter, NFL, NBA, Prime Sports World is a pretty good place to be. Continue checking us out. I've been David Huppin right there, TJ Hopkins. And we want to thank you very much for joining us. We also want to thank our friends over there at Roost Bear, sponsorship at Prime Sports World. Drop the link to their website on our Facebook page, along with the NFL Supreme Facebook page as well. Happy Tuesday, Friday. Happy Tuesday, TJ. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Friday is already on my mind. I can't wait for it to be Friday.
You said Friday's already on my mind.
Yeah. I am ready for the weekend.
I feel you.
Like WrestleMania is this weekend. It's one of my favorite sporting events of all time. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's gonna be up there for sure.
It is. It's I even might check it out this year. I think I skipped last year. I didn't really watch it, but
It's a two-night extravaganza, TJ.
I know, and I thought that they get rid of that once the pandemic was
No way. I mean,
more.
if you can make money on 2 nights as opposed to one night, why would you stop?
No, cause me growing up, I was so used to the 4 hour extravaganza. Like it used to, like it in real life used to be that long.
Well, I
Right?
mean, it's still, they haven't made it any shorter. It's still 4 hours both nights. It's just they get to make money off of both nights. So,
So I just thought like the whole 2 night thing was a
and
condition due to the pandemic. I didn't think they was gonna stick with it.
it's
Is
here to
what I'm
stay. That's for
saying.
damn sure. And if you guys are looking for wrestling content, I'm going to be doing a podcast on Saturday where we preview every match leading up to WrestleMania. So you don't want to miss that content. But we're not here for the WrestleMania stuff. We're not here for the wrestling. We're here for the National Football League. And the NFL owners meeting is going on right now. And the first rule that got passed during that meeting is both. So the new overtime rule, this only pertains to the playoffs. For now on, both teams are guaranteed at least one possession in overtime, regardless of the outcome of the first possession. This rule will only be in place for the playoffs. This vote passed by a vote of 29-3. There were some murmurings of a rule like this being placed with New England beat Kansas City on the opening possession a few years ago. And then the
Hmm.
murmurings really got heated up after Kansas City knocked off Buffalo
Buffalo.
in the playoffs this season. Do you feel like this is an overreaction to one game, or do you think that this is a rule that's been trending this way for a while?
I both actually. I think it's a bit of both because the numbers show that in overtime in the playoffs, the team who gets the ball first, they win 50. I think it's like they win 55% of the time, which
That's not over. That's not overly. That's not an over the top number. Like that's basically
it's
50.
not right. Like like that's as close to 50-50 as you're gonna get without it actually being
Yeah,
50-50. I could see if it was like a 70-20 or like 70-30 or 80-20. Like the team who gets the ball first in the OT wins 80% of the time. Then you make a drastic rule like this, but it's really only like 2 games, right? And you highlighted it, right? It's the it was the Tom Brady's last Super Bowl in New
New
England
England.
where they get the ball first, and like you can make like Max Kellerman, who was a Patrick Mahomes stan, was on that bandwagon. Like the only reason New England won is because they got the ball first. Like no, all they had to do was not jump off sides on third down, and they get the ball back because that's what happened, right? You gave Tom Brady an extra crack at it, and he made them pay. That's what it is. And like now the new go round is Kansas City and Buffalo, right? So I know Christian for a fact was not happy with this. Like he disagrees with it. He disagreed with it when the rumor started. Because if I'm Buffalo and looking up from the outside in, 3rd and 14.
Yeah. I mean, I think that because that game was so entertainingly offensively that they wanted to continue. But I do think this is I think this like you hit it right on the head there. I think this is an overreaction, and it's been trending this way. Like we've been talking about potentially changing overtime rules for a while.
For a
Like
while.
like the fact that every team should have a people want it to be like college football. They want it to be like that sort of system where they have you continue getting it like there's not even a kickoff. Like you just get the ball and if you score and you can continue to score, you win the game.
And it's not like college football in the sense of like they start at the opposing
25.
uh 25 and then you go from there because like even college football changed their rule
Yeah,
to the
this
point
this
where
past season. Yeah, so after like the third overtime, I think you have to go for two.
every time
Yeah,
and the only
and then I
drastic
think
one we
eventually gets
saw.
to I think eventually gets to a point where it's basically like you're on the goal line and it's a 2 point conversion.
Yeah,
Continue, like and
and
then you
the,
continue to play the game.
and the only one we drastically saw where it was like ridiculous was it was U of I Penn State. It went to like 9 overtimes
Didn't
because they
didn't the
kept
Alabama LSU and kind of like on based on that rule?
not
I
that
remember that correctly or no?
no, it wasn't that extreme. Like this year was the first one where they implemented like after like the third or fourth overtime you go for two because it was a low scoring game. It was like 20-18. U of I beat Penn State and it was an upset because Penn State was ranked and U of I wasn't. Like U of
Yeah,
I hasn't had a good football program in quite a while. I wish I would have known the
with
three. Like I
Juice
want to know who
Robinson
the
or
three.
whoever Juice has been
Yeah,
there.
Juice
Right.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know who the three teams are that voted against it. Um, I don't know if the report says that, but we'll get like will the names will be released because teams people are going to talk about this. Like networks are
Let's
going to
see
talk
if I
about this.
the other.
So it's both. Like they've been tinkering with it for a while. They've been talking about it. Now they just put it in action. And again, it's an overreaction because there was such an uproar over Josh Allen not getting a chance to match Patrick Mahomes' overtime drive. And I'm looking at it like as if we needed more stuff to cater towards the quarterback,
Yeah, right.
right? If that like that's all we needed more, more babying, more pacifying, more hold handing for the quarterback. Oh, he didn't get like I didn't get the chance to match him. Like that's no. Like I can see both sides of it. Like I can see the other team won the chance, but I can also see people the three teams who voted against it. No, if you want the ball back, stop them. Plain and simple.
I got.
Again,
I think at some point, I think this was inevitable. I think this was going to happen at some point, and
obviously,
eventually it'll feel like like right now the like taking a field goal doesn't end the game feels kind of right? Like I
yeah.
think this after a while, like after because the people that watch the NFL frequently, they have a problem with this. They're set in the way that this is how it's always been. This is the way it should be. But the game will always constantly evolve. This is like baseball, where they constantly kind of run their run their wheels in the ground, and they kind of want the sport to stay the same forever. The NFL is
Mhm.
constantly evolving and constantly becoming a better product. Um, so, I mean, I don't hate it. Do I think I don't really love it either. But I
I
do feel like this was inevitable and it's going to happen at some point, whether it happened after this season or after a couple more seasons where we had another overtime situation where it's the same way it plays out. I think it was always going to, it was eventually going to happen no matter
Absolutely, it was gonna happen regardless. It's just I feel like I wonder what took him so long to come to this rationale. Like, because in my opinion, like it should have, in my honest opinion, I think it should have been like this regardless. Like from the jump. Like I hated the fact that a field goal was all you needed to win the game. Right, like that.
what. I
Like to me,
also,
like
I think that was a good rule they changed. Like, I don't think a field goal should end games. You should have to punch it in the end zone.
exactly. And now it's all right. If a team kicks a field goal, then the other team gets to match it. All right, that's also fair. Like you give the team you give the opposing team a chance to match it. The only thing I want going, the only thing that I really want going is the tie. I hate the, like
The Bengals
I
being tied, I don't know. It doesn't bother me all that much.
I
I think
I
it.
I I would substitute this. I would substitute this rule for ties being gone any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Like I am so serious. Like it's like who the hell wants like nobody wants a tie. Like the fact that the NFL doesn't have some form of a double overtime is insane to me. Like I
I
would
wouldn't. I wouldn't even mind if they got rid of the tie and like replaced it with like a straight kickoff. Like you can take the team's two kickers and you basically just continue backing up 5 yards until a kicker misses. That's how you decide the game.
I'm with that. Like I start off at an extra point, right? Start
Yeah,
off at an
yeah,
extra.
yeah. And then like all of a sudden you have kickers kicking it like 60, 70 yards. Like I would just love to see the spectacle of that. Like you just have the kickers like out there. You have the field goal unit, the whole unit out there. Like it can still get blocked, it can still be defended, and
Yeah,
like have it play out how it, like if you can make it like I think that's kind of fun.
but
Do I think that's gonna happen? No, never.
no.
That'll never happen. But is it a fun idea? Yeah, sure. You know what else is a fun idea, TJ? Trades in the National Football League. This has been the most notable player movement I can ever remember in one offseason. So far, these are just the ones I've listed. I did not include like the Case Keenum trade or the Chase Winovich trade. These are the ones that just I included on the list. Vontae Adams got traded to the Raiders. Russell Wilson got traded to the Broncos. Khalil Mack got traded to the Chargers. People forget about the Khalil Mack trade. That only happened like a month ago. Matt Ryan got traded to the Colts. Tyreek
Yep.
Hill to the Dolphins. Robert Woods to the
Mhm.
Titans. Carson Wentz to the Commanders. Jack Mason to the Buccaneers. Deshaun Watson, the big one, got traded to the Cleveland Browns. And people forget, Amari Cooper also got traded to the Cleveland Browns. And Unique Ngakoue got traded to the Colts. So it adds the question. First of all, do you think we'll see another trade, big time trade, before the season starts? Yes or no?
Before I'm gonna say no because with the draft a month away, if certain deals haven't been done, they're probably not gonna get done. And that I think that tends to go with free agency too, because I just read like like 2 days ago that the Rams and Bobby Wagner
Yeah.
have mutual interest in each other. Bobby Wagner wants a 1 year deal worth 11 million. The Rams don't want to pay him 11 million. They want Bobby Wagner, but not at 11 million.
He would be immediately an upgrade over whatever they're doing in linebacker. So,
So
so I mean, I actually do think there will be another trade.
you
Do
think
I
that
think
will be all right?
I think there could be another trade before even the draft. There's seriously stuff going on that's been cooking in the pipes here that I think could happen. So let's look at some names that could potentially be on the move before the NFL draft, before the season starts. So there's the names I have right there. I got Saquon Barkley, DK Metcalf, Baker Mayfield, Brandon Cooks, Aaron Rodgers just for shits and giggles, Jimmy G, Christian McCaffrey, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Michael Thomas, Laramie Tunsil, James Bradbury, and Lamar Jackson. By the way, the Ravens were not able to reach an extension with Lamar Jackson today, but they were able to extend Harbaugh. So, of the people on this list, who do you think is the most likely candidate to be the next superstar player traded?
McCaffrey.
So what's the rationale there? I'm not saying
He's outside of Baker Mayfield and Jimmy G. He's really the only one that's really been talked about. Him going to Buffalo was gaining traction, then talks just fell
man,
apart.
I would love that for Buffalo. That guy Chris McCaffrey, but I don't know what they'd have to give up.
What was it at the time? It wasn't a blockbuster deal like folks were thinking of because you have to value McCaffrey on what he is now, and right now he's a guy who has had trouble playing the full season. Right, like it's different if McCaffrey has never missed a game and is a consistent 1,000 yard rusher, 8 to 1,000 yard receiver because he's capable of doing that, and like 20 combined touchdowns, 10 catching, 10 receiving. then you that's
He
when
hasn't been healthy at all the last 2 seasons. Like I'm
right
not
that's when
sure.
you
I think his value might be as low right now as it's been
so
in quite a while.
I I think the trade was like um McCaffrey for like Cole Beasley, and I think that was like a straight up deal. I can't remember if any draft capital was involved in it, and I'm pretty sure it was. But if I'm Buffalo, yeah, I'm looking at it like you said, like the guy hasn't been healthy the past 2 seasons. I'm not giving you any draft capital of value if he can't stay healthy for you. Right? He's been hurt for you. Like I'm like no. So you want to break the bank on me when I'm like, you got to see what the guy's worth. And right now he's not worth anything more than a third. Like that's the truth.
I
Right?
agree with
I'm
you
I'm
100% on that, but I honestly think it's going to be DK Metcalf. It's just, or even Brandon Cooks. Like if they want to move him somewhere where he's actually going to compete for the title because he's been a good locker room guy so far for that team. But DK Metcalf has so. I mean, he's. I think if you're building Seattle, like you're probably in the middle of a rebuild. Do you really want to pay a guy who runs basically one route a bunch of money next off because he's going to need a new contract next offseason? Do you want to pay a guy who basically runs one route
yes.
like Tyreek Hill type money? No, I don't think so. I think you're going to
Well,
let somebody else do that.
first off, that's where these guys have to get realistic, right? If DK Metcalf thinks he's worth Tyreek Hill money, then he's sadly
He's gonna
mistaken.
for sure request Tyreek Hill money. Why wouldn't you? Like all they could do is say
The
no.
then first like that's where the agent has to save the player from himself. Right? Like yeah, like you can request you can request Tyreek Hill or Devontae Adams money all you want. You have to look at, does your production equal that money? And if I'm DK Metcalf's agent, I say, bro, like I'm your client, right? Like I work for you. I'm your client. I'm telling you right now, you can go, like I can go to them with this demand. I'm gonna tell you right now what's gonna happen. I'm gonna say he wants this. They're gonna laugh me out of the office. I'm not even gonna get a like if I get into the office, right? They're gonna laugh me like if this is a phone call, they're gonna hang up the phone. So we're gonna try this again. We're gonna come back with a realistic number, and then we're gonna try this
I
again.
mean, when you see Kristen Kirk at one point was like the third highest paid wide receiver, I think DK Metcalf might be more talented than Kristen Kirk.
Okay, yeah, and at the same, so everybody wants to blame Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill for dropping up the price market on receivers. You don't blame them. They're worth their money.
Yeah,
You
they've got
blame
what they deserve. I mean, it's the DJ Moores of the world who's like the third highest paid receiver right now, or fourth, or it's
you
the Christian Kirk
blame
of the world who's
you
like.
blame right. You blame Christian Kirk. You
I mean,
blame
not that I blame
him.
Christian Kirk. I mean, you got if you're going to get your money, get your money. But I mean, DK Metcalf. I mean, in a situation without Russell Wilson as the quarterback could become a rebuild. I mean, you can get some real value for DK Metcalf if you wanted to really trade him. Like we're not talking like maybe not Tyreek Hill value, but you could for sure get a first and maybe a second.
Right. I think you can take Baker off the list. He's not getting traded right now. I don't think Jimmy G is getting traded right now. You can definitely take Kyler Murray off the list. Like, um, I don't. Arizona would be absolutely foolish. Yeah, Kyler Murray's immaturity is definitely showing. Like with him scrubbing his IG page and putting everything back, and like yeah, like bro, like that's immature. You have to handle that more professionally. But Arizona, I think, would be dumb to trade him right
I
now.
agree with you on that.
So yeah, Kirk Cousins, he's on a 1 year deal. I think this is it for him in Minnesota. I think
I
next
think
year.
so too. But I think if somebody were to come up to it with him, like let's say Tom Brady, like God forbid, if Tom Brady were to get hurt like during training camp, I think Kirk Cousins could be a guy that they call and be like, hey, we need a guy to step in. I think Kirk Cousins, if it isn't Jimmy Garoppolo, or I mean any of those star quarterbacks, if they any of them get hurt.
uh, Laramie Tunzel, if I'm Houston, like what, like all this draft capital, it means absolutely nothing if you don't hit on the draft picks, right? Half of your draft picks are going to be busts. Like that's literally the reality. That's what it is. Like that's what the numbers show. If most of your draft picks are going to be bust, right? That's why you're criticized on the ones you miss versus the ones you hit. And if I'm Houston, I'm not in this like yeah, I want all the draft capital I want because I'm clearly rebuilding and I have that cachet to say I have all these draft picks. I can afford to hit and miss. I can afford to miss more than I hit because I'm in a rebuild. But at the same time, if I'm a Lovey Smith or if I'm whoever's going to be coaching that team after him, I can't. I'm not. I know deep down I'm not afforded that luxury. Right? I got to put a product on the field
right
that
away.
if it's not going to win, it at least has to be respectable.
And I also think because the Michael Thomas thing, his value could not be lower. It's the same thing with Chris McCaffrey, kind of like Michael Thomas's value right now could not be lower if he tried. Like he went from being like a guy who was a breaking Marvin Harrison records to can't even get on the field the last few seasons.
And everybody wants to call him Mr. Slant now because all he ran was slants and out routes. And I'm willing to bet that's literally because Drew Brees couldn't push the ball downfield anymore.
I mean, and
Like,
not to mention, I mean that's like 95% of wide receivers route tree anyways. They all run a ton of slants.
um, Michael Thomas, running 10, 15 yard slants and catching them. That's what he had to do to help his quarterback. That's what happened. And again this past season, yeah, he was hurt, but he was also very disgruntled. Like you paid him, right? Michael Thomas got his extension on the precipice that he would be involved with the next quarterback selection, right? I'm pretty sure he has no issue with Jameis, but he also knows Jameis ain't the end all be all
You're
for
not
New
winning a Super
Orleans.
Bowl with James, probably.
And then you pay Taysom Hill the money that you paid him, and I get it. Like, right, if you're Sean Payton, Sean Payton's no longer there, but if you're Sean Payton, you found this guy. You found this guy, and you turned him into a gem. You turned him. You used him in a way that no other team was probably going to use him, and you turned him into a Swiss Army knife. He catches the ball for you. He runs the ball for you. He blocks. And on some trick plays, you can throw him back there as a quarterback, and he can throw the ball. But Taysom Hill is also 31 years old, and he's not going to be a starting quarterback. If Taysom Hill is your starting quarterback,
he's not going to get better. Like, it's probably your point. He's what he is right now, and
he is what he
nothing
is.
ever is going to change.
So I still think. I don't think they're going to get traded right now. I think they'll be like trade deadline deals. Like, I think a bunch of guys on this list are going to be trade deadline. I think Saquon Barkley could be moved at the deadline.
I think Saquon Barkley gets traded before the season starts if they can get a decent deal. James Bradbury, I don't think gets traded. Lamar Jackson, zero chance gets traded. I think they find a way. I think they find a way to get the extension done at some point. But it's either DK Metcalf or Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley. The New York Giants are probably going to do a semi-rebuild. Saquon Barkley's timetable doesn't really fit with the rest of the roster, if that's what they're going to be doing.
So if you're the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, you know what you're getting. He still has room in his ceiling to get better as a passer for sure. But you got to ask, if I'm him, like he's the one who has the ball and like he's the one who has all the control, right? Because the fact that Deshaun Watson got the money that he got, going through what he's going through, that helps Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson can go to the respect, like one of the most respectable front offices in all of football, which is the Baltimore Ravens, and he can say this guy can get in all this trouble and have all this dirt on his name, miss a year, and get paid $230 million. Which if he gets suspended, he's only suspended like he only misses $1 million out of that. So he's gonna
I
get
mean,
200.
man, that deal.
He's gonna get $229 million if he's
The
suspended.
way Cleveland structured that contract.
It's like it's sketch. It is so sketch. It's like how is that all he's gonna get fined? But anyway, like Lamar Jackson can say he's done all that and he still gets that money. I've taken you to the playoffs every year I've been here. I've won an MVP and I've been in the conversation every year since my rookie year. You finna sit here and tell me I'm not worth at least that? At least $229 million? You can't match that.
I think that's a hard sell. Like it's like what you're like. If I'm the Ravens, I would have found a way to extend it before that Sean Watson.
So, cause like you gotta think about it, like, so if I'm Lamar Jackson, like I'm like I love my team. I love the guys. I love the guys I share that huddle with. But my number one target is Mark Andrews. My number one target is Mark Andrews. Who's my number two?
Probably
Hollywood Brown when he's there. Who's my number three?
Sammy Watkins.
When he's there.
Devin Duvernay.
When he's there.
They also have the kid from
Rashad Bateman when he's there.
Him. Yes.
So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I go to him and I go to them and I say, hey, usually like more times than not, especially since I've won the MVP, this offense has been Lamar or bust. Like it's either all me.
It's been pretty clear like that when the Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson, they
struggle.
When Lamar Jackson is also healthy, like he wasn't this season, they struggle big time. And apparently, the reports are that these contract negotiations between the Ravens and Lamar Jackson are really not all that close. But it also appears that Lamar Jackson's not all that interested in getting something done. So unless they're going to break the name. So I think this is one of those things where it will be something we're talking about next offseason as well. Like where they work on a new contract next
year. So they got their
because we talk about this. Dak Prescott did this similar thing, and he came out fine. So I'm not worried about it for Lamar Jackson. I also don't think. So as long as he doesn't get seriously injured, even though that didn't hurt Dak Prescott either, but I think he'll be okay. There's also some other names that I didn't put on the list because they're likely to get traded low. Like Jared Goff, I think is probably going to stay in Detroit unless something unprecedented happens. Like somebody gets hurt, then they need a quarterback, and Jared Goff is the guy they want.
Not going there with you because did you know the Detroit Lions, they're going to be this year's Hard Knocks?
Nick Foles, another guy whose his contract getting very cheap now, so they could essentially use him as another one they can use. And then there is Sam Darnold, who if you're an NFL team, why would you trade for Sam Darnold?
Why would you trade for Sam Darnold?
I just let him hang out in Carolina. Myles Gaskin's another guy they just signed 2 running backs, so he's kind of expendable. Who is a good running back? Devontae Parker, Grady Jarrett.
Devontae Parker actually, like his name actually is on the trading block.
I mean, once you get Tyreek Hill and you have Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker becomes a luxury, who wasn't really all that good last year. Anyway, he hasn't been all that good since he got paid. Being honest.
Well, in his defense, like let's not act like his quarterback carousel hasn't been.
That's true. And then the last one is Grady Jarrett. I guess if they're going to be doing a full rebuild there in Atlanta, Grady Jarrett is somebody who probably has earned the opportunity to play elsewhere. Who's a good player. He's approaching 30 years old. He's a two-time Pro Bowler. He would save the Falcons basically $17 million in cap if they find a place to trade him away.
A lot can happen between today and draft day. A lot can happen.
So if you were to bet, so finally, you're putting money on it, okay? Of the players I have listed here, who do you think is most likely to get traded before the draft? You're putting money on it.
Before the draft?
Yeah.
Ooh. Before the draft, I'd probably go Laramie Tunsil because he's the one who can command the most draft capital, and Houston can get a lot back for him. I don't know what the market is for Brandon Cooks, because Brandon Cooks right now, he was on that Houston team, but he's looked at right now as the guy who put up numbers on a bad team. That's what.
He had 90 catches for 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's been good basically since he got into the National Football League. Just because he's bounced around from, I think he's been on 14 points, but he's been an excellent wide receiver.
And I'm not taking that away from him, but right now he's looked at as you said it, 90 catches over 1,000 yards on a team that won 4 games on a bad team.
I'll go DK Metcalf. I think something happens with DK Metcalf down in the draft. I think there's a potential Kansas City out there that could, and there's a potential Green Bay out there that could be looking for a wide receiver, and they could potentially put first pick somebody's already, as opposed to taking somebody never comes to the draft.
Oh no. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's why it all plays out. And that's been our look at who's next. Also, a look at our brand new rule that's coming into the National Football League, where both teams will have possession of the football. I've been David Huffman right there, TJ Hopkins, and DJ. What we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, and we need it because the wind don't help.
It's supposed to get warmer tomorrow, but rainy. So take it what you will. We'll be back here tomorrow doing some looking preview of the national championship stuff going on in college basketball. We got the Final Four team, so we're going to take a look at how shake out there. I've been David Huffman right there, TJ Hopkins, and we will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day, brother.
See you, man.